I like the idea of machinery aspect, how people function. And on one hand, I was just doing a Terminator fan art. And I was like, oh, this could work. I've been through productions before where you could tell like the story team and the art team was segregated. Like there was like no coherency whatsoever. And if I was gonna make my own thing, I wanted to make sure that it was really, really integrated. I had a version of the story where I think it was very much focused on triads specifically because I was into Chinese gangs. I knew I wanted the idea of gangs upgrading their bodies to do more crime. I figured like that can't be a bad premise, right? It's gonna be awesome to write anything, right? And I was still viewing them as a toy or collectible perspective, like a physical one, right? Because it was for a Kickstarter and all that. But it kind of just stuck there. And maybe because it was limited in scale, limited in scope. And so when I really started to do the NFT pieces, then I realized that I should think a little bit bigger. We started looking at the world first, and then basically going back to story school, think about the who, what, where, why. And then as I produce the art, magic happens, and I'll put something in there. Then it's, oh, this would be a cool setup for another story arc, and it just kind of developed from there. When I started producing the very first set of the NFT pieces was when I really started to ask myself, like, how do we make this have a bigger coherency that if I was a buyer, I would fall in love with? And I think that was the time where I was creating the first set. I'll call them like the iconic. So these were like the first 16, right? The first 4 of the 4 gangs. And that's when I started to really think about the concept of hierarchies and how they would connect with rarities and all that. And that's when the story started to develop a bit better. So it was a really organic process. I would not dare say like one came first or the other. If it weren't for this idea of batch NFTs, I wouldn't really also consider certain aspects about the story that I'm writing now. But I figured that would be a cool idea because if you're buying into it, like it's a whole thing, right? And it was created at the same time. The MetalHeads, it's a platform. It's a universe that has multiple possibilities.